Here we have a worksheet as part of our plants theme unit. This is called the parts of a flower. And it says, the petals attract insects or birds, which helps spread a yellowish powder called pollen. The stamens produce pollen, and we'll see those inside the flower. Seeds form in the pistil. The top of the pistil is called the stigma. Pollen must fall onto the stigma before seeds can develop. That would be pollination. Sepals look like small leaves. They protect the flower's inner parts. Let's look at our flower and answer the questions here. And I've brought a real flower. This is a tulip, this particular flower. Let's also look at the drawing for a quick moment. We've got the petals, that's this part. The stigma in the middle, we'll show you that soon with a close-up. The stamen, little parts around it. The sepal, these small leaves. Our tulip actually doesn't have sepals. It does have a lower leaf here though. And the pistil, which is at the very bottom, inside where the petals are. So we'll use our camera here to go inside the flower and take a closer look, and then we'll be able to answer the questions here. So let's take a look at the first question. What color are the petals? Let's take a closer look. Well, I would say that these petals on this particular flower, this tulip here, are an orange pink, right? So we could put pink, but we could also put orange, because it's kind of a mixture. It's not all pink, but it's not all orange either. Some people would say that's a salmon color. Question number 2 says, how many petals are there? Well, let's count them. There's enough to count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I've bent them all down. So we have 6 petals on this flower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 petals on this flower. It says, how many stamens are there? Let's take a careful look at the stamen. It's the little smaller ones that go around. So let's go right in, take a good careful look at the stamen. So these stamens are kind of black tipped. When I look at them, we can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This flower has 5 stamens. 5. It also says, how many sepals are there? The sepals are the little leaves that are right underneath. And we can see on this flower that it doesn't actually have any sepals. There is a lower leaf here, which is a little bit smaller than the big leaves that were lower down on this flower, but this leaf is not a sepal. Sepals would be right underneath, and it just happens to be, in this case, the tulip doesn't have a sepal, or a pair of sepals. So for this flower, we can say 0. Other flowers, it's usually at least 2. Take a careful look at some other parts of the flower. We have the leaf, absorbs the sunlight to feed the flower. The stem of the flower. Already talked about the petals and their beautiful color. We can see the stamens inside. They're black and they've lost some of their powder. Pollen is usually yellow in color. Right in the center in that middle part, that's the part they call the stigma. We can kind of think of the stigma in the middle as the girl part of the flower, and the stamen around the outside is the boy part of the flower. Bright color of the petals is to attract things like flies and bees and hummingbirds so that they will pollinate from flower to flower. The pollen in this flower has to be transferred to another flower of the exact same kind, in other words, another tulip. Sometimes when we cross-pollinate, we can get new colors and new kinds of tulips. So this tulip might have been created from a tulip that had pink in it, but got pollinated from a tulip that may have had orange in it. It's the inside. Look at the yellow along the bottom of the petals, where it's not pink. Let's see if we can get inside and find the pistil. That means we're going to have to take the petals off the flower. Let's see if we can find the pistil in here. Because this flower hasn't yet been pollinated, the pistil really hasn't had a chance to form. Beneath the stigma here, we'd get a round bulb that would form, and that's where the seeds would be. So eventually, as the flower died off and the petals dropped off and this whole top part came off, we'd end up having a round ball here, which would have the seeds in it. And as the flower died off back into the ground, the seeds would end up in the ground, ready to produce some new flowers. Now, if we take a look at a different flower like this daffodil, for example, we can see that inside it's a little bit different looking, and it has a different petal system here. There's this center petal, and there's these petals. But what I really wanted to show you is the sepal leaves. So here's a sepal, and we can see, because this flower has already been pollinated by some bees, we can see that right here is the pistil where the seeds are going to form. So if we were actually to take the head of this flower off and open up this pistil, we can see right there the seeds that are inside the pistil. And the sepal leaf here that tries to protect that pistil, that part of the plant. And again, that was right underneath where the flower was. And also, if we go into this flower, I can rub my finger in there like I'm a bee, and you can see all the pollen that comes out of this flower on my finger there. I'm just going to color up this part of the flower here first. On the very bottom, it says for number 5, on the back of this page, draw a flower and color it. I've just got a bigger piece of paper here, and I'm just going to draw my flower, put in the petals. You can see the petals don't have to be straight lines here. Could be sort of wavy. Pistil here in the center. Maybe we'll have the stem coming down. I'll give this flower some pretty colors. And there's my flower. And that's our worksheet on the parts of a flower.